Worth County Board of Commissioners meeting for June 25th, public hearing at 7 p.m.
14 budget year. I have a statement that I would like to make, and then we will let those who want to speak, speak. We're here this evening to discuss the 2013-2014 budget and listen to the concerns of the citizens of Worth County. The board has worked on the 2013-2014 budget for several weeks and have come up with a balanced budget that I totally disagree with. This budget fails to meet the current or future needs of Worth County. Our 2013-2014 budget is $9,447,353. Our reserve balance is $843,316. This balance is far below the normal requirements of government. Worth County should have a reserve balance equal to 3 months of normal obligations. Our reserve should be $3 million minimum. We have less than a month's reserves. Should we encounter a countywide or unexpected financial emergency, we will be in deep financial trouble. Already the board voted in this past Thursday's meeting to borrow $750,000 on a TAN note to meet the upcoming obligations of the county. I am deeply concerned that departments across the county and taxpayers will be affected by what took place during the past administration from 2009 and 2012. The millage rate was reduced by 1.405 mils. This reduction has resulted in a loss of over $2 million in revenue the county could have used. The total revenues lost for this budget year is nearly $600,000. With the recession, reduced spending by consumers, and the new gate card for farmers, we expect an estimated sales tax reduction of over $100,000. This loss of revenue will be devastating to this year's budget requirements. We see all aspects of government affected: sheriff, health department, fire rescue, EMS, recreation department, public works, and constitutional officers. All will be deeply affected by the decisions we make on this budget. There is no way that this budget can reach the needs of this county without a tax increase. Even with a modest increase, the needs of each department will not be adequate. Funding will fall far short of what we truly need. A tax increase will allow the board to avoid the borrowing of funds from the reserves. I realize that many of you, like me, object to any tax increases. However, a failure to increase the taxes will affect this county now as well as the future. There are members of this board who are against a tax increase. I continue to ask myself the question, why? Why would anyone object to moving Worth County forward? A tax increase will show outside business that we are a progressive county and will help this county to bring in new business and new jobs. We each need to think about the future and not just today. One member wants to put the weight of the budget on the backs of the county employees. Ms. Bozeman has stated that 16 furlough days is the answer, or we should take a reduction in the number of employees. I totally object to this and will fight this to the end. Mr. Sutton simply said that he is against a tax increase. I respect their feelings about a tax increase, but I want Worth County to move forward and not stagnate as it has done for the past several years. I will propose that this board approve a millage rate increase of 1.405 mils. As I stated earlier, even an increase of 1.405 mils will fail to adequately provide the needed revenue to each department of the county government, but it will be a start to bring Worth County into the 21st century and make us more viable for business. Judge Acord, would you like to come forward, please, ma'am?
Testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Hear you now.
budget I received from the commissioners, my telephone has been cut. But I asked for a telephone and internet because currently we're on the clerk of court's internet and we've been asked to get our own internet. So I increased my budget for that. Not only was I not presented with internet, approved for internet, my budget was cut. And as of May, my budget is a negative $63.77. And this doesn't include my internet. So therefore, I have to have internet to operate. I asked for an increase in postage, and that was not granted. My training, I asked for $1,500 in training, and it was cut. And judges are on mandatory, as of last year, 2012, we're on a mandatory certification training that must be completed in a certain time frame. And missing any of these required classes could prevent me from receiving the certifications. Also, my clerks have a similar training schedule that they're required to take. My office supplies were cut as well. So I'm asking for an increase in that. As of May, my budget was at negative $1,702. And last but not least, my employees, normally probate court, from my understanding in the past years, has always operated in 2 full-time clerks. And a lot of times they also had a part-time clerk. I want to apologize to each one of you because apparently I didn't make myself clear. I was asking for an additional part-time clerk, just assuming that the full-time clerk was a given, since probate court hasn't ran in years with just one full-time clerk. So I'm coming before you tonight, compromising. If I can get one full-time clerk and one part-time, if I can get another part-time clerk in January, as you know, I have a government state worker that's there until November. Well, her contract runs out in November. So I'm willing to go through December with only a full-time clerk and a part-time clerk. It's going to be tough, but this is my compromise to each one of you. That in January, that if you'll allow me to hire another part-time clerk with 29 hours, and I say 29 hours because I understand that at 30 hours, the county is required to pay for health insurance. So if you'll allow me to hire a part-time clerk at 29 hours in January, with the understanding and the agreement from the board that the person that I hired understands that they're 29 hours, until July, when the new budget comes out, then I can move that person to full-time. Okay, so let me recap that. Right now I have 1 full-time and 2 part-times. I'm asking that in January I have 1 full-time, which is my chief clerk, and then 2 part-times. Keep Miss Kelly. She's an extremely asset. She's a great asset to the probate court, and she will be at 16 hours a week. And then I hire another part-time clerk at 29 hours a week. My travel has also, well, I said that was last, but I noticed a note down here. My travel was also cut, but I'm willing to work with you that I'll pay out-of-town expenses, like the mileage and stuff like that. I'll pay that out of my pocket. So the proposed budget that I gave you tonight is $4,084 over your proposed budget to me.
$143,765, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
but on my proposed budget that you sent is $160,724.
Yes, ma'am, but if you, this is the new budget. I'm trying to work with you because I believe that we're a team. And I understand that the county doesn't have money. So I'm willing to work the best of my ability. Again, my clerks we do not get take breaks. Sometimes we don't get lunches. But I also think just for the record, I think it's unfair that the county employees have to bear the burden. I ask that y'all do whatever it takes to meet these budgets.
Can I reply?
Yes, sir.
I'd like for all your employees that don't eat lunch, that skips lunch, and can't eat every day, I like for them to come in here to sell, Mr. Cord, and say, and let me look at them, and see, and tell me that they don't go eat lunch,
So, Mr.
that's all I'm asking, I hear all these pitiful stories, you talking about tough times, I don't know where you know what tough times is or not, I'll be honest with you, honey.
Sir, can you tell me 5 things that goes on in my court? Can you tell me 5 things that goes on in my court? Because a lot of times y'all are trying to tell us exactly, well, we got to cut this and we got to cut that, when a lot of times you don't even have a clue what goes on in my court. And I'm really taking offense to that because I believe by your statement that you're really calling me a liar.
I'm not calling you a liar, no ma'am, I'm not. I'm not calling you a liar,
Then
I'm
why
not calling
would you make
nobody
that
a liar,
Well, what you're saying is you don't believe it unless my employee comes up here and tells you.
Well, I tell you what I
I'll tell you
believe.
what you can look at.
I'll tell you what I believe.
Payroll and see how much overtime.
I believe there's ways to ever.
Let's keep it civil.
I'm through.
Go ahead, Judge Echo.
I'm just hoping if y'all have any questions.
Well, as I stated in my statement, the only way that I can see that this county can meet the needs of each department is that we do take a tax increase, and how much of that increase would go to your office would be enough for you to hopefully do what you're wanting to do. But we won't know until after we, take a vote on the millage rate, which plan on doing hopefully next Tuesday. Hoping Mr. Billy will be here next Tuesday when we can, have a full board to where we can vote and see where we're at. Because if we don't have a tax increase, I don't know how in the world we're going to do what we need to do. Being straightforward with you, I just cannot see it.
Yes, sir, I agree with that.
And I think it's absolutely ridiculous this county to be in the position we were in today.
Well, since there's several citizens here tonight, I would like to address them that if I don't get the clerks that I need, that I may have to cut back on your firearms permit certain days a week, your marriage license certain days a week, because I don't have the staff to accommodate you. And another thing I'd like to address to the board is we're a bedroom community. Majority of our citizens work outside of this community. So if you're coming to the courthouse, a lot of times you're having to take time off from work to get here. So if you're taking off time from work, and I tell you I'm sorry, but I don't have enough staff. Is that going to make me happy? That raising taxes isn't going to make me happy. But neither is if we can't provide a service. It won't make me happy.
I'm going to address you on your office supplies. You asked for $1,000 worth. We gave you $638. We looked at the history on the office supplies, plus we're doing a central purchasing now to cut down on the price that we're paying for copy and paper. So your office supplies, you should be all right in that line item.
It's a possibility if y'all do promote that it's a possibility that I will be okay. But, we don't have any history to back that up.
We don't have any history, but we have some figures where we've been paying $39 for copy and paper, which you got to figure now $33. And central purchasing will cut down on this stuff because you're ordering in bulk.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I work with the board as much as I can, and I believe that we're a team, and I regret that we're having to come before you in a public hearing because, to me, this just promotes division within our community. This is very unprofessional that we have to come before you in the public. As a business owner, I would have never taken a stance like this, and this county has to be ran like a business.
That's exactly why you've got the cuts in the budget.
I understand
The
that.
federal government right now, look what they're doing. The Defense Department's taking 15 furlough days.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. And as a business owner, I had to trim my employees. I had to make adjustments in that. But when it comes to the point where you have nothing else to trim, I have to raise prices on my product.
That's right, I'm in business too, and I agree with you 100% on that part of it. You have to raise prices to offset your losses, and it's not pretty sometimes, but you have to do it.
If y'all don't have anything further, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you, Judge. You have anything, Judge? Okay. Sheriff Hobby, where'd he go? Yes.
I'm not gonna be as detailed in the budget as what she is. Main thing I'm up here. You hear me?
Yeah.
Main thing I'm up here talking about is, salaries for my employees and, getting some extra employees to help service this community. I got some numbers right here. Calls January 1 when I took office to now. So far, we made 765 calls. That's for 14 road deputies. If you divide that out, that's 483 calls per deputy. We've had 185 transports that we've done since January 1. Do not have a transport officer. I have to take an officer on the road to go call somebody to Atlanta or Macon or Columbus, wherever we've got to carry them. That leaves me short on the road. That leaves me short of covering these calls that we're getting in. If you multiply them calls, from June to the end of the year, we're looking at over 13,000 calls that we're going to be doing. 2 busiest months, November and December. So we'll be looking well over 14,000. Part of my investigators, I got 4 investigators right now. I've got 1,960 assigned cases to them. Got 1,141 active cases that they're working on. So far, they've cleared 764, and that's for the last 4 years. That's just 4 investigators. So you know what kind of emphasis they're putting on cases. I mean, they don't have time to work on them like they should. Civil papers, in the last 4 years, we served 9,800. Warrants were served, 7,930 warrants. So people in this community want service from the sheriff's office, they will have to realize something's going to have to give somewhere. I've got deputies starting out at $12.50 an hour. Sylvester has moved their starting pay to $13.50. I found that out today. For us to keep qualified people working, we're going to have to up their pay. Increase all we are in the training facility for other departments, what we're doing right now. I've lost a good deputy. I think Sunday was his last day. He went to Marine Base. I can't blame him for doing that. I mean, it don't matter what kind of pay we're paying him. I mean, Marine Base, he was in a fool not to go. But at the same time, when you make it $12.50 an hour, I mean, these clerks in the courthouse making more than what starting deputies are. I mean, you know, they put their lives out on the road every day. That's all I'm asking consideration. As far as equipment I've asked for, it'd be nice if I could get some. But I just soon sacrifice that if I can get some raises and I can get some help them out.
Sheriff, I agree with everything you said. If I was out there, I would certainly be wanting to make over $12 an hour. And, you know, I can't make any promises, but if we can get this tax increase in place, we will make some adjustments, but I don't know, how much we can make until everything washes out.
Out of all that, I mean, it's been several years since the sheriff's office got raises with their deputies. I don't know exactly when the last raise came, but like I say, I took over January the 1st. But I know it's been several years, and they've got to make a living just like everybody else does.
I agree with you. I told you, I'm not against you, I'm for you. I'm for the sheriff's department. I'm for every office in this county and every department in this county getting what they need to get to operate. But I do realize that we're limited on funds, and everybody is going to have to, get their piece of the pie. But we got to get, more revenue in here. I agree with what you're saying.
I'm not for a tax increase.
I'm not
They
either.
always told me, you never vote tax on yourself.
No, sir.
Sometimes when you get your back against the wall, you got to do something.
That's right.
You got to get yourself out the corner. And that's all I have to say about it.
Every county in this state is facing the same thing we're facing. And folks have got to realize that if they want the service, it's going to have to be paid. If not, we stay where we're at. And if you call 911 for a deputy, it may be 45 minutes, maybe an hour before that deputy gets there. And we have certainly got to look at this thing.
People pay for a service, they go to McDonald's, they pay for that service they do there.
That's right.
They go to Dairy Queen, they do it.
That's right.
Wherever they go, they pay for that service.
Well-
That's no different from a sheriff's office or the fire department.
Can I say
wherever.
something?
Yes, sir.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
The problem in this county, I'm gonna tell you. We got too many people in this county that's sitting on their butt, don't pay for nothing. Get all kind of service that all the taxpayers get, and all the property owners and all the people that works for a living. But we got more people here that don't work, but they expect them service, until we get some kind of fair tax. We're sitting here talking about we beating the farmer in the ground, Some folks think the farmer will still be looking at the back end of a gray mule and living in a little shack and got a Johnny house out back. That's what they think, about the farmer, And they think because you get 3% increase on his conservation on his land, where some of them got $1,500, $2,000. You put the 3% in there, that's going to be more than $100. You know what I'm talking about? And and those people don't think about. It's going to come a day whenever I tell you what's going to happen is people going to find out their belly's going to be eating up the backbone, and knocking the farmer from here to there, and putting food on the table cheaper than anybody in this world. I'm tired of sitting here, and people, it's ridiculous, to getting free service, and I don't get nothing free, but until we get a property tax here, some kind of tax, fair tax, a sales tax, some way, some fashion, farm, until this country does that in this county, then we're going to be a S-H-I-T creek, that's what y'all say we are now, but we survive in this county. It might not be, I hadn't always got what I wanted, in my life, and I know it's service, but, it's not right. I'm tired of it, that's why you're not here tonight, but that's the way I feel. And I feel this way next week.
Fair tax.
Huh?
I agree with you. We need a fair tax around. Property tax is not fair because everybody don't own property.
Right.
I ain't fixing on the farmers, by no means. I used to do it. I used to try to make a living at it.
Right, I understand that, Chief,
All right. I'm not picking on the farmer. We got to have other landowners besides farmers in this
I
county.
know that too.
And sales tax, that's probably about the most fair tax they are in this county. But the government come back and cut the sales tax. So right now, we're going to have to step back on what we got to do to make it.
Got to balance the scales, son. In
That's
this
right.
country, not only in Worth County, but this whole country.
People-
Everybody's got to pay
people
fair
want
share. If they don't
People
get
have to pay for
services,
service.
it's not right. It's not right. It hasn't been right for years.
That's right. That's all I got to say.
That's all I got to say to you.
Okay, Sheriff, thank you. Ms. Zinke?
Thank you, Commissioner, for your service to our county, and I know the job you have before you is not easy. for someone who does have to deal with budget woes on a healthcare forum, I certainly feel your pain and applaud your efforts. I'm here tonight, and I appreciate your time to read you a letter from David Cooper, who's the director of the rec department, and to specifically address the recreation departments and the proposed cuts to that budget. The letter from David reads, "First, I would like to apologize for not being here tonight. Our baseball all-stars are participating in the district all-star tournament. They've been working hard since March for this tournament, and I feel it's my duty to support them as they represent Worth County in this tournament. I'd first like to say thank you for supporting us over the years. Your support is very important because it allows the youth in our community an outlet other than the streets. The Recreation Board and I have worked hard to streamline our budget and cut where possible. I feel we have done an outstanding job in saving where we can. We have had increased participation over the last few years. We have had support from local businesses and also a gracious donation from ASC Wireless. They donated a lighting control system valued at $25,000. This system allows us to monitor our complex lighting and turn them on and off remotely. Now to funding. As many of you are aware, the original agreement was for each entity to give $210,000. After taking a look at our actual needs, we took a voluntary cut of $25,000 per entity, meaning the city and the county. So the first year, each entity funded $185,000. This past year, because of building reserves from over the years, the county only funded us $50,000 and the city funded $185,000. The city this year said they would only match what the county funded because that was the agreement. After talking with Chairman Cosby, I learned we would only be funded $50,000 from the county, which concerned me because I had already told him the city was funding us the same as the county. This means we will be operating on a budget this year of $50,000 from each city and county, $55,000 in reserves, and approximately $35,000 in revenue, a total of $190,000. Also this year, we asked for $165,000 per entity because we knew we were going to be on tight budget constraints. So over the last few years, we've taken a voluntary cut of $45,000 per entity. The current cut will be critical to our department and to our youth. The last 2 years, we've operated on a budget of $400,000. My question is there any way we can have an across-the-board cut rather than certain agencies getting the brunt of the cuts? I would be in favor of an across-the-board cut where all agencies suffer a budget reduction of the same percentage. In closing, I'd like to ask you to please reconsider the budget for the Recreation Department. Attached is a note from Mark Castile, the owner of the Dairy Queen. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, David Cooper, Director. The letter from Mr. Castile just simply reads that the rec department gains have had a positive impact on his business, has created more labor hours for his employees, and that it's vital to our community. Also with the letter was just a picture of the dedication of the Worth County Baseball Complex made in 1997 from the Board of Commissioners at the time, dedicating it to the youth of Worth County. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Zinker. Come on up, Ms. Zinker.
My name is Jimmy Zinker, and I've come here tonight as one of the volunteer coaches for the rec department. Upon coming here, I've learned quite a lot tonight that I wasn't aware of. So if you would please, I'd like to speak as a coach on behalf of the rec department, but I'd like a couple minutes to also speak as a citizen and address the tax issue. So I can fulfill both roles, if you will please allow me. First, the rec department. Brought a few of my friends along here tonight. I don't think I have to tell you the benefit that the rec department has for the youth of our county. We all know that. I'm a 3-year coach. I was a police officer for 9.5 years. I thought I did some good there. But I have had nothing that has fulfilled me in my life like taking on this job of coaching these young girls in softball. I think there may be another way. I know that this issue is deep. I know that there are livelihoods here that are affected. The rec department could possibly go a long way towards standing on its own feet. I don't think we could make it go all the way, but I think we could make it go a lot further than it is now. There's a new thing going on in America. At least it wasn't around when I was a kid. It's called travel ball. It's tournaments where teams travel around and they'll pay up to $300, $350 to play and participate in one of these tournaments. I participated in tournaments recently with my daughter here in surrounding counties and as far away as down into North Florida and up around Atlanta, where they've got 15 or 20 teams there. Imagine the first annual Playing for Peanuts softball tournament the weekend of the Peanut Festival. Bringing in 10 or 15 teams, maybe we could go more if we got some prestige and some notoriety with it. 12 members per team, their families, spending money in our businesses, paying our rec department to participate, spending money at our gas stations, staying in our motel and filling it on up. Imagine that. Imagine doing it several times throughout the year in just one-day Saturday only tournaments. These tournaments go one day sometimes and they go 2 days sometimes. Why aren't we doing that? Our facilities aren't up to the standards to be able to hold this kind of activity. I have been told that we recently acquired the cotton field between the rec department fields and Harvey's. It's a big chunk of land out there for the purpose of growing the rec department. But now this budget crunch has come up. If we could find a way somehow to put the kind of facilities we need out here in this field to grow our rec department so that we can, A, not have to beg and borrow to amass enough girls just to make 2 teams to do a softball season. We can attract our own girls into the rec department and grow our rec department internally, but we can also invite these tournaments in. It will bring more revenue, increase the funding of the rec department of its own accord. I'm telling you as a volunteer coach, and now as a coach that's starting a new travel team myself that's going to be 10U, I will do everything in my power to utilize this facility and make these things happen. And it can be done. The high school coach, Coach Klubal, recently did a tournament out here at the rec department where the surrounding high schools came in. This was last week. I think 23 teams participated in that. That's just an example of what that rec department could bring in. So I'm not coming in here today and saying, hey, all of us who participate in the rec department, we want you to give us money so we can continue what we're doing. I'm coming in to ask you to help us build this thing so that we can stand on our own feet and on our own accord.
Can I answer him right now?
Sure, ma'am.
You talking about the new field out there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me explain that to you. There was $500,000 put in the last SPLOST referendum. $249,000 of that money was just spent to purchase that property. You now have approximately $250,000 to build the field out there. That everybody pays on that. That comes from sales tax. So the money is going to be there to build the fields, but we got to see the plan first. It's got to be approved.
Okay. I'm just a volunteer coach. I'm giving you an idea here. And that's good. What you're telling me is it's doable. It's inside.
Right.
That's good. That's good. I think that the rec department can make up for these decreases that are necessary. And that's what I come today to show you. I mean, these girls here, y'all stand up wearing one of our uniforms. These girls have played under me. We teach these girls. It's not just about going out here and playing softball. I teach them to win with dignity and lose with humility. All right? I teach them to think. Girls, what's the most important attribute of a great ball player? The mind. I teach them to think. I teach them to win with dignity and lose with humility because they will both win and lose in life. And I hope that I teach them that the crack dealer isn't the coolest man on the street. Right. This is necessary. And so what I wanted to do is come before the board, and I appreciate you taking the time to let me speak and listen. I come with this idea to tell you, I think that one of the alternatives to alleviate this part of it is to give us the facilities where we can generate our own income. I think that's one idea. Ladies, y'all sit back there. Thanks for coming. To the tax issue. As a former police officer myself, I understand where you're coming from with the furloughs. but it's targeting one group of people. I don't think it's fair as a citizen. I don't think it's the right way to go, with all due respect. The millage rate increase, same thing. You're targeting one group of people. Is it doable to consider a county sales tax, not to pave roads, not to build stadiums, but to fund the proper and necessary function of government? It's every citizen's responsibility to fund the government, not just the property owners.
Can I answer?
Sure.
We already have LOST, L-O-S-T. That's a local option sales tax that goes into the general fund. And I'm not sure that state law is going to allow you to put in another 1% sales tax, because we already have three. We have SPLOST, we have LOST, and we have the educational. Good question for the legislators.
Is it possible to increase the one we have?
I would love to do that, but
You know, as a
you can't just do it. You have to go through the proper channels.
As a landowner in this county, I might be a lot more apt to consider a millage rate increase if I can see that everyone in the county is being asked to fund this goes. That's where the rub comes in. I agree with everything that
I agree with that too.
said a while ago. I've got the same frustrations, but our rubs are coming in from somewhere higher than us,
Exactly.
put on us by people we don't have the power to elect or unelect anymore.
That's exactly right.
So I'm going to close with this comment. I moved here from Glenn County over in Brunswick. This year is 19 years I've been in Worth County. I come to this county because my grandfather grew up here in the teens as a sharecropper. I visited here as a small boy to visit his brother, Joe Wilkerson, and I come to love this county. When you go into the tag office in Glenn County, you're met with a wall of arrogance when you hit the door. It's pure bureaucrat over there. And when they want money, they could care less. They rape everybody there. They get you coming and going over there. And it's arrogance. It's impossible to deal with. I come here, I go into the tag office, I can clown and play around with those people while I'm buying my car tags. They smile. Your county commissioners smile at you when you approach them outside the courthouse. We've got it good here, people. This is a great little county. We've got a problem here that's going to need to be worked out. It's going to take some give. But I'm asking, let's try to find a way to where everybody gives and not just one particular group or class of citizens. And I believe it can be done if we pull together. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sinker, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yeah. What's your name, sir? Donald White. Okay.
Yeah, first of all, I'd just like to say I voted for all of you. But, I mean, this is the first time I've ever been in this, and I'm going to tell you, just like Mr. Jimmy here, I'm a little bit blown away by the balance. I mean, if I wrote my checkbook like this, it wouldn't be long, Mr. Jeff would be coming to visit me. So, I mean, whatever we got to do to get it right, I'm in agreement. You know, if, as a landowner, I'm as broke as the next man. But I mean, if I got to pay it, it's my duty, I'll pay it. But I just don't want to take my kids. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm asking. It's a good thing. We got them off the street. Keep them occupied. I mean, I understand everybody's got to have their cuts. But, you know, I mean, let's be easy with it. And as far as David goes, no offense to Mr. Milton, the one that passed away. He was a good man. But since David's come in here, he has made some improvements. And, you know, it's just like anywhere else. You're going to have people that buck the system. People are scared to change. I understand that. But he's doing some good things with this stuff. And we're making improvements. And, I mean, you know, it's kind of mind-boggling to hear about the deficit we're in. Because I'm going to tell you, just like him, I've been around to, you know, different states and stuff, and I'm going to tell you, there's no place like Worth County. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I farmed here. I helped farm here. I throw watermelons. I busted blood in the dirt just like every other man here. And I mean, if I'm gonna live somewhere, this is where I want to live. But whatever we gotta do to get it figured out, let's get it figured out without cutting the throats of the kids. You know, I mean, that's all I'm asking. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. White. Is there anybody else? Mr. Dan, I see you back there. You're a big supporter of the rec department. Would you like to say something? Fred, would you like to say something? I know you're a big supporter of the rec department.
You want to go first, Fred?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Fine. You want to go ahead? You're better at this. I don't know if I need this or not. Can y'all hear me? I'm not one for a microphone. I'll yell a lot. I got kids at home. I'm going to talk to the board, but I'm also going to talk to the residents. Most of y'all know me. I'm the tax commissioner. Unfortunately, I'm the one that collects all the taxes, and I'm the one that has to deal with, the revenues and basically all that happens there. I've met with Mike, I've met with commissioners on some of the problems that we do have. The majority of our budget does come from your property taxes and your motor vehicle taxes. What we collect and turn over to the county is a little over $6 million out of a $9 million budget. So, we're pretty busy down in our office. With the cuts, yes, we have lost probably about $550,000 a year since 2009 with all the millage rate revenue cuts. But I'm listening to several of the commissioners, and I know the farmers here in this community, and I know they depend on, we depend on the farmers as well as they depend on us. But some things that numbers y'all need to understand. One is conservation use. The farmers do pay a lot of taxes in our county, but the farmers also have conservation use programs that cuts their taxes almost in half. The county alone is losing $1.875 million off of the conservation use. We're losing $228,000 off of the new FLPA program, which is the Forest Land Protection Act. That's where we voted to save the trees several years ago. Well, what we did is we cost the county taxpayers because it saves the large landowners and little timber. The basic homestead is only costing the county $71,000. That's the tax break each resident gets. Unfortunately, we are a begging community. We are an ag community. And until we do something with a major industry, or we have a lot of major construction going on, there's not going to be any other revenues here. And what I did is I ran some numbers, just so we could see where we stand, to where we could compare kind of apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Bentonville County has a population of 17,000. Their average digest is $400,273,000. Their millage rate, just the county, is 14.785 mils. Countywide is 37.72 mils. Mitchell County, population is 23,932, a digest of 534,334,000. Their county millage rate is 20.289. So they're just for the county, and then their countywide is 35.47 mils. Cook County is 14,700 population, a $312 million digest, and 11.9 millage rate. Berrien County has a 16,235 population, a $282 million digest, and a 60.71 mil digest for the county. Worth County has 21,967 population, a $500 million digest. Our millage rate is 10.255. That kind of answers the question right there. It's all in the numbers. We are one of the lowest millage rates in the state of Georgia. We don't have a lot. Unfortunately, we do depend on the homeowners. It's sad, but it's true. And if you don't own, but you rent, you own a vehicle, yes, we're getting a little bit there, but not much. But am I for a tax increase? No, because I pay taxes too. But at this point in time, if we don't want to see this county bankrupt or indigent in the next few years, we're either going to have to go up with the millage rate or go down on our services. We want to provide for the rec department. We need to provide for the rec department. We need to provide for the sheriff protection And it's like Mr. Cosby said, if you have a fire in your home, I'm sure you want the fire truck there immediately. But if we don't have the firefighters, who's gonna put out your fire? As far as people being able to afford their taxes, we've worked with everybody. You said it, in my office, I have an amazing staff. They're friendly, they're outgoing, and they will work with everybody. If you can't afford your taxes, lo and behold, you have to pay them, but we're going to pay them when we need. If you can't afford that $500 tax bill, you're on Social Security or fixed income, you make payments. That's the only thing we can offer to help each resident of this county. But in order to provide the services that everybody in this courtroom right here so desperately needs, it's really on the backs of the residents. Do you want a tax increase? Or do you want less quality of services? So, that's pretty much all I have to say. And if anybody has any questions, I can pretty much tell you, I've read spreadsheet after spreadsheet on what a basic tax increase would cost the county resident, from a $15,000 house to a $592,000 house. For example, if your property is worth, let's say $148,000 home, the school's going up 1.26 mils. I got that call today. If the county goes up 1 mil, with that 1.26 and the 1 mil, your county tax would go from $1,496 to $1,630 a year, which is a total of $134 in a year's time. Divided by 12 is lunch for 1 day a month. I think we can afford that to not have people get furloughed, to not have people in our county lose their jobs. Because the way I look at it is when you take a county employee and you furlough them, that county employee is a taxpayer as well. So you're not only taking food off their table, but they're not going to be able to play their kids in the rec because they can't afford it. So what kind of service are we providing for the youth there? If y'all have any questions, I'm in my office and y'all would want to ask me anything y'all need to know regarding taxes, tax increases, and values. Thank you.
You're welcome, Fred.
I can tell you that having sat on this board, I can appreciate what y'all are having to go through. I know it's a tough job, and times are tough everywhere. Yeah, it's hard. The problem is that the county is the vision of state government. The county can do what the state says it can do. It can't do what the state says it can't do. Basically, we have sources of revenue, ad valorem taxes, sales taxes, fines and forfeitures, and that kind of thing. That's basically what the county operates on. No, we can't go up on it. They won't let us. But one of the problems that Tabitha touched on is what the state does all the time. The conservation program, the timber. Now the thing on automobiles. Tabitha, what's that going to cost us? I'm going to tell you that. Go ahead.
I'll say, to be very honest, the new TAB2 laws were actually bringing in more revenue. But now, because it's based on the TABT, instead of paying 7% sales tax on your vehicles, right now you're paying 6.5% on a TABT fee. But it's not just hitting your car sales from the dealer, it's hitting all the casual sales. So we're actually getting money from people who weren't getting it before.
Is it more?
And we're actually getting
The
more.
Lee County says they get 20% less.
Yeah, we're actually getting more. I was very unaware, and I did not think we would, but we're actually able to true up and turn over additional revenues more than we're turning over to the schools.
Well, I hope it does. I hope it does. We need it. I want to speak as a member of the Recreation Board for just a second. I've been involved with the Recreation Department for many, many years. When the county gave $25,000 and the city gave $25,000, and we almost couldn't operate. We got that up at one time. The county was giving $180,000, and the city was still giving, I think, $50,000. But back 3 or 4 years ago, the city agreed to equalize with the county what they gave, and the city has stepped up and done that. The county last year cut it, and they can't take another cut. I can tell you right now, if the county cuts back to $50,000, the city's probably going to cut back to $50,000, and you can't run that recreation department on that. You're not cutting down on the recreation department. You're going to be cutting out the recreation department. And I don't think these kids and our kids can afford that. I think that it's investment in our future, and I don't think we have any choice. I don't like to pay taxes no more than anybody else. I pay taxes in 4 counties, and I can tell you, by far, this is the cheapest. By far. I think I pay taxes on 10 vehicles. I buy as many of them as I can here, because in Dougherty County, it costs half again as much. I promise you. county's got to have the money to operate, and each department, yes, needs the money, the rec department needs the money, you can go right on down the line. They're operating as cheap as they can, and they've got to have it there.
Thank you, Fred. Does anybody else like to speak? Now's your opportunity. Mr. Joe, you got anything to say?
I just thank everyone for coming out and participating in this public forum. We've had some tough times in Worth County, and we're still having tough times. But we went on this budget, we cut to the bone, ain't nothing left but the bone. And we can't cut anymore, and as a result of those cuts, it's really putting the county in a real tough situation. The chairman said he didn't agree with what we did on the budget. I don't agree with the budget itself, but it's where we are at now, and unless we come up with some type of increase in taxes, we're like a dying breed. Because what has happened over the past few years, and then with all the cuts that you've heard people speak of now, it's like we are down in the valley. We're in the valley. If we don't get anything, any type of taxes, we're constantly sinking. We're not level. You heard the statistic from all of the counties our size. They're up, they're running, they're surviving. We are constantly falling behind. And Worth County is such a good county. We got such a great group of people, and you know, there's some smart people here, and I think they're going to realize, or you realize that sometimes it hurts, but we have to do what we have to do. I've had one person call me and said, don't raise taxes. Out of all the other people called me, they said, look, we sent you up there to do a job. We trust you. We trust that you're going to do the right thing. We might not like what you do, but we trust you enough to send you up there and do the job. And he said, get off your butts and do the job. Now, what that means is a matter of interpretation. But they don't want their county to be slacked. And I just had a weird thought the other day. If I called 911 and somebody said, please hold. But what do you think about that? It's a cut in service. Now, it'd be far-fetched, but we don't want that to happen. We got a good county. Let's keep it that way. Let's sacrifice of what we have. And if it hurt, we're going to find out that in the long run, it's going to be better. Thank you.
I'm not telling y'all that y'all are being misled out here, but let me explain something to y'all. Last year, our budget was $10,508,078. The state law now requires that you take solid waste out of there. And we got commissioners that are trying to make out like that we made a big cut here. We had to take out the waste management out of the general budget. It stands on its own. 911 has to stand on its own. And this is essentially the same budget that we have just gone through, except taking out the landfill and taking out 911. I agree that there are things out here that need to be done. But when you get 25 calls in one night saying, don't you raise taxes, we can't stand it, then that makes you stop and think. And I agree that one day that these taxes are going to have to be raised. But I also agree with Mr. Sutton that there are some more cuts that can be made to get these departments where they need to be. And I appreciate y'all coming out. Y'all bear with us, and we'll get through this. Thank y'all.
I'd like to thank each one of you for coming out tonight. It's a tough job up here. I used to be sitting exactly where you guys are. And now I see what is going on in this county, and it's not pretty. And Ms. Bozeman has, I respect her for what she said, but let me tell you, if things were really good, we wouldn't be seeing $50,000 to the rec department. We wouldn't see the sheriff's department cut. We wouldn't be seeing other cuts coming in this budget. And as I've said earlier, I don't like tax cuts. My daddy hated them, and I guess it come down to me. I do not like not tax cuts, but tax increases. Love tax cuts. But we have had tax cuts over the last 4 years, and it's time for something to happen in this county. We don't have any industry. No industry's coming in, no industry's coming until they see that this county is a progressive county. I understand Walmart has changed their mind about coming to Sylvester. Why? It's a good question. They didn't give a reason. How many more industries or businesses have we lost? And to me, if we don't take a tax increase next year at this same time in an election year, this county is going to be even in a bigger mess than it is today. And as for me, I ask for all your prayers as to what we need to do as a board, and I hope with y'all's understanding, and we need your support, we need your input, we need everything y'all can do to help us, because next Tuesday we've got to make a decision on what we do for this county's future. And we appreciate again all of y'all coming. If there's anybody else that would like to speak, they're welcome to speak. And if not, I move. Okay.
I'll make a motion, you call the public hearing 2 o'clock.
Okay, we'll do that. This public hearing is closed, and we will have another public hearing next Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock.